All right, so this is just like something I've been thinking about for maybe like a day. Um, and what it is the difference between sleep and awake. Stay with me on this one because this one is kind of like conscious thought, but it's so conscious that you have to like you have to you have to really follow what I'm saying. All right, the breath is one of the most, if not the most important thing to life. And then there's water, and then there's food. But the breath is the most important thing to life. But you have to be balanced. You have to balance out your air, which is your oxygen, your breathing. You have to balance out. You have to include your light. You have to also include your water and your earth. You have to have these things as well. I mean, you have to have these elements to live, to function. And it's important for you to balance these out. And then the fifth element will be the body, but you can include that into earth. So with the air element is your breathing, is your oxygen. Like you want to be feeding your body and consuming oxygen, making sure that you take deep breaths to make sure that everything is circulating. The oxygen is circulating around your body because oxygen is very important to the body. People kind of like don't pay too don't pay much attention to the fact that oxygen is one of the things that you cannot live without. Like people can go like days and days without water. They can go days, weeks without food, but you can't go more than 2 minutes without oxygen. And with that being said, you have to make sure that you are paying attention to your breath and being in that meditative state. And that's how you maintain your level of consciousness because your attention to breath helps you stay alert, helps you stay aware of things. Even if you like kind of like are not paying attention to your breath in each and every moment, meaning like if you're just like walking around and you're not really paying attention to your breath, but if you're in I mean that could be okay, but you want to build up a foundation where you are paying attention to your breath like in each moment, and it becomes more of a like a practice, more of a focus practice to pay attention to your breath. Um, my battery is like dying a little bit, but I hope I can finish recording this 3 through 3. Um, that kind of threw me off for a second. Um, but you want to be aware of your breath, especially when you're dealing with emotions, because your emotions can cause you to change your rate of breath. Like the amount of breaths you take per minute or a second or whatever. You want to make sure that you're you're taking deep breaths when you are in like a stressful situation, or even when you're excited. You want to make sure that you are enjoying your breath. Change the focus a little bit. But your breath is very important in every situation, and it can help you stay alert in every situation. Like even when you like, if you ever get into like an argument, or you're in a situation where like your emotions are being affected, one key thing that you can do is focus on your breath. And focusing on your breath will cause you to be able to be more grounded, to be more alert and aware of your emotions, and to be balanced, because you don't want to be like in neutral. You don't want to be in one area or another where you're not able to control yourself. And that's what breathing does. It helps you control yourself. And being in the state of being asleep or unaware or unconscious is to not be aware of your breath or your breathing. And that's what I've come to understand as being asleep. Like people say they're woke, or there's people that are asleep, but do they take it to that level? Do they take it to the level of not being aware of your breathing as being asleep? Because when you're asleep, you're not necessarily aware that you're breathing, but you're aware that you are asleep. Like your awareness changes to the fact that you're asleep rather than changes to the fact that you're breathing. So even with that, you have to be like aware. Just as we have like different cycles of our sleep, it's like our awareness changes from being aware that we're in a state of supposed sleep where we're thinking, and being in a state of like dreaming where we're like visualizing things and we're kind of not aware of the fact that we are not experiencing something. Because a lot of people, even though we go through our different sleep cycles, a lot of people are not aware of the fact that they go through these different sleep cycles of being like in between dreaming and thinking. And that's something that I'm working on. Like, I'm not perfect at all. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm not perfect. But I do experience like periods where I get certain visualizations of things, and I get like periods where I am aware of my thoughts, and I'm aware that I'm laying down, and I'm aware that I'm seeing like different colors displayed like in my mind. I'm aware of it, but I'm not like unconscious of it, or how do I say that better? I'm aware of it opposed to being like unaware of the fact that I am doing these things, or these things are happening right in front of me, or that I am experiencing these things. That's the best way of saying it. Thank you. But also, this is something that I wanted to add to this was, and this ties into the fact that we're going through like the COVID crisis or the COVID-19, whatever it is that it's called today. We're experiencing a shift in our perception of time. Stay with me on this one. We're experiencing a shift in our perception of time, and we have left brain thinking, which we're used to, which we've come to accept, which we've come to participate in an unconscious way. It still ties into the fact of being awake and asleep. Your meditative state versus your sleep state, because again, like people have said, countless times that this is a matrix, and it could be automated, or it could be something that you actually interact with, and you actually are aware that you're interacting in a particular way. But left brain thinking tells us that we have to do all these things to get this, because that's logical thinking. You have to do this to do this, or blah 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 to do this, and we have to experience things in a linear way as far as time goes. But we've been forced to kind of think about time in a different way, to change our perception of time to right brain thinking, which is being aware of the activities that we're doing, and actually focusing focusing on different activities that have nothing to do a lot of times with us earning money, or if it does have something to do with us earning money, it's by our own choice, it's by our own um, creation, or it's by our own, I will say creation, because I can't say that someone who is right brain is more skilled or someone who's left brain is more skilled, but I will say that people who are left brain typically are more skill based, and people who are right brain are more talent based. That's what I want to say. And again, there's no separation, but you do have to understand that there is a difference between the two. No separation at all. And in right brain thinking, when we experience time, your days or time as you know it doesn't happen in a linear way. Like, you don't do the exact same thing each and every day. Like, every day is different and everything changes, like, depending on the day or depending on the time of day. 11:11 again. Depending on the time of day, because you experience time differently. You want to do different things at different points in the day, so you're experiencing time differently. And this also ties into the left brain and right brain thinking. Like, you have to understand that a lot of the patterns that we have are in our gut. It's in our gut brain. And if you do any research on this, you will know that this is a very real thing. The gut brain is focused on, like, patterns and old thoughts, things that we are aware of, things that we are comfortable with. Which is why a lot of times, like, people who like eat a lot of comfort foods, they tend to get joy. They get joy from eating, like, foods, because they are comfortable with that level of understanding, because it's a comfort level, and it's a lot of stuff gets trapped there. Just like a lot of your thinking could get trapped there, because that's where you're thinking from. If you're thinking from, like, your gut brain, but right brain thinking is more here. Like, it's the right brain. Like, I'm not saying that the gut brain is bad. I would never say that. But I will say that there needs to be a balance between the two. Again, but your right brain thinking, you're thinking with your brain, and you tend to think differently, like, about things. Like, your way to express, your way to do things is different, because you're actually thinking, like, differently. You're thinking of different ways to do things, and that's the way you're supposed to, like, be navigating, like, thinking differently. Like, it's good to have patterns, it's good to have ways to do things, but it's also good to think about it differently, and to appreciate the world in a different way, and to experience yourself in a different way. And I was gonna also tie, like, the breathing into this, and this also ties to what I was saying about the heart, and how the heart works in two different ways. Like, it feeds, like, the earth element, and also feeds, like, the water element as well, and then also the oxygen. It feeds the oxygen, but your heart focuses like down, but it also focuses up. So, like, if it focuses on your organs here, and it focuses on everything below here, and that's like your earth element. Like, it transports the minerals to those areas, but it also transports, like, oxygen, like oxygenated blood, to your upper, or your capillaries, if I'm not mistaken. Your capillaries. If I'm wrong about capillaries, then I'll correct that later. But it sends oxygenated blood to your brain, which appeals to, like, the upper part of your body. Like, it circulates the blood. It circulates the blood to your upper parts of your body, which helps, like, balance you out. But you have to make sure that you are getting enough oxygen to do so. So that new oxygen and new new oxygen is being circulated around your body into your brain to have you thinking in a clearer way. I wonder if, because I actually have to think about this one. Like, I wonder if air is considered like a positive element, or well, I guess it would have to have like positive and negative charges because I think everything is positive and negative. But I know magnetically, the Earth is negatively charged. So I wonder if the air is like mostly positive or would it be mostly negative? But then again, I would guess that it would comprise of positive and negative charges because I think everything is, or it has the potential to be positively and negatively charged. Um, I think that ties into the idea of alkaline eating and then also drinking alkaline water. And then I wonder how the air that we can breathe is can be alkaline. I wonder does that have to do with like like the ozone and what that's comprised of. That's something that I have to do research on, and I definitely will. Um, I think that's all I wanted to say about that particular subject. Like, there's a difference between being asleep and awake, but how far are people taking it? Are we just like talking about awake to information that's around us, which could also be tied into the oxygen, like breathing in new oxygen, we're taking in new information, we're learning new things, and then also like taking in light. Like, are we spending time in the sun? Are we sun gazing even? Like, even if you don't take it to that level, are you spending time in the sun? Because that's information as well, and that's a part of being woke because you have to have sunlight to be here. Period. And if you don't, I mean, I think one of the only things that can exist without sunlight is spiders. But I think that's the only thing that can actually exist here and not have sunlight. I mean, there may be other things on like other dimensions that can exist without sun, but mainly those are the only things that can exist without sun. And for whatever reason, they just can. Wait. If I'm not mistaken, hold on. Let me say it may be melanin, and I may be getting those twisted because yeah, that's kind of like a foggy area. But we'll clear that out real quick. We'll clear that out, and we'll come to an understanding of what that is. Um, and I'll maybe touch on that later. But yeah, but how far are people taking it when it comes to being woke? Because you can't just be woke to the fact that there's corruption in the government, which still appeals to as within, so without. Um, there's corruption in the government, like they're doing something that we're not aware of, which is a change in policies or change in thoughts, change in patterns. Like, everything is connected, nothing is separate. Like, you have to understand, like, everything is connected. Everything is connected, and you have to be aware of that. There's an awareness. There's awareness that you have to be aware of in everything. And again, like, you can't demonize anything. There is no such thing as good or bad. There is only understanding, and without understanding of things, that's when you have the idea of something being bad or something being good. But understanding is the most important thing, the single most important thing to all communication, to just all everything. Like, you have to have the understanding, but you also have to have the compassion and the willingness to understand things and to comprehend things. And you don't want to close yourself off to an understanding of yourself, and that leads to your growth. And that's something that you have to be willing to experience. You have to be willing to experience. You have to be excited to experience your own growth. Like, that's something that is very important on any path, like any journey. Like, your growth is important. And I mean, you may not consider it your growth, but it's something that you may come to realize that that's what it is. Even if it's small things, you may come to realize that that's what it is. And it's great to be able to come to that realization. But I'm gonna end this now. Um, but I want to say I love you, and thanks for coming to this understanding, and thanks for allowing me to express in the way that is conducive to my growth and to your growth. Because again, like, there's no separation. Like, if I'm growing, you're growing, and there's love here. There's nothing but love here. Like, love felt here, and it comes through the stream. Like, at least, I mean, I would hope that it comes through the stream for you. But yeah, I'm probably gonna but love and light. And yeah, I think I'm gonna end this here.